morning to you. Good morning to you. 93.5 FM listeners. Good morning to you. My name is Adam Handler. I am your case handler. I am an attorney at Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico. I am the partner of the Personal Injury Department, and I'm here for you, here to present our show, which we call Cruising with the Case Handler, every morning on the dot, 8:30 to 9, streaming live also on Facebook, continuing to 9:30. We're on the weekends. We are every day here for you, getting the message out that there are attorneys out there that are willing to help, that are ready to help, and certainly able to help. We've had an amazing response to this show, particularly when it comes to those free consultations. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are offering you 100% free consultations over the phone. All you have to do is call our phone number, 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529 or 844-PPID law. No strings attached. All we'll ask is that if we can help you, right? And we can't always help everybody out there, because sometimes you just can't be helped because unfortunately you've either done it yourself and it's become such a twisted ball of yarn that it's impossible to undo, or you went to another lawyer and they did something that's unrepairable. But if we can help you, we will respectfully ask, give us a shot, see what we can do. We've helped thousands and thousands of people over the years legitimize their status here in the United States. I personally, handling the Personal Injury Department, have obtained over $120 million for victim of negligence. That's people involved in car accidents, construction accidents, workplace accidents, slip and fall, medical malpractice. If you've been hurt through the negligence of somebody else, you will be entitled to money under the law, no matter who you are, where you're from, what you're doing here, what you look like, what kind of food you eat at night. It doesn't make a difference. You're entitled to recover for your time out of work, your medical bills, and of course, your pain and suffering. It all starts with a phone call. That's the only way we'll be able to help you. We won't know you're out there unless you contact us first. Again, my name is Adam Handler. I am your case handler, and our phone number is 844-774-3529. We have a great show for you today. As always, the sun is shining. The weather is sweet. We're here to move your dancing feet and to the rescue. Here we are providing amazing legal information and also making it fun while we do it. So we're glad that you spent your morning with us. You tuned in. I have my partners, Conrad Pollack and Nelson Madrid, ready to answer all the questions. You can't stump them at all. Trust me, you can try, but you're not going to stump them. Conrad has been practicing immigration law for 36 years, okay? Nelson has been practicing immigration law for nearly 15 years. I've been practicing law for 17 years. We are practicing attorneys. What does it mean to be a practicing attorney? It means that we are the ones handling your case. We are the ones meeting with you. We are the ones working on the documents, and we are the ones going to court fighting for what's usually your one and only shot at justice. One chance, one choice. Adam Handler, the case handler, and Pollack, Isaac DeSico. And with that said, I will like to introduce my co-host, the man with the plan, the gentleman that got me started doing this radio gig, advertising, legal, kind of getting myself out there 15 years ago. Right? Drum roll, please. David Squeeze-Aniki. David, good morning to you, brother.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Champion of the world.
Good morning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think he did it all. I think my job here is done. He's an excellent, well, we already know he's a phenomenal attorney. $120 million over 15 years. This guy's great. I mean, settling accident cases. No one should go anywhere else. I'm not taking my chances with anyone else. But now he's officially a broadcaster. All right. He's officially a broadcaster. And that's Adam Handler, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, he has introduced the phenomenal, my operative word today, panel Okay.
Well, we didn't introduce Shruti yet. I was saving that, but okay.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. And I want to say thanks to Conrad Pollack, my maestro. I want to say thanks, a special thanks. I always say thanks to Adam Handler, because Adam has helped me personally throughout my life. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a businessman and I'm a black man. I mean, I'm quite sure you guys know that. You guys know that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
All right.
what?
You're black? Wait a minute. Let me see this.
You know, and I am
Turn the video on, man.
Yeah. And I'm in this country and I've had challenges, and a lot of those challenges, Adam Handler has helped me throughout the years, even if it's not him personally helping me. He has also recommended other attorneys. What I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, it would behoove me not to tell you, okay, that you should choose some friends who are truly great attorneys. And one of mine happens to be Adam Handler, okay? Great guy, family guy. He thinks he's a comedian, but he's not. He's really just an attorney. No matter what he says, he's not a comedian, okay? So make sure you have his number. And that number happens to be 844-774-3529. Believe me, it's worth knowing him. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I spoke about the Conrad Pollacks and the Nelson Madrid, two of my new friends who are great when it comes to immigration help and immigration advice. I would not, ladies and gentlemen, stop listening to the show without storing the number. If you've got something else to do, make sure you store the number. That's the first thing you want to do. And we are an immigrant community. And when it comes to, I mean, once upon a time, I thought I knew it all when it comes to immigration just by listening over the years. But after being with these guys for months right now, due to this quarantining and establishing this relationship, I realized that there's still a whole lot that I know and you don't know. And it would be nice to have their numbers in your phone. 844-774-3529, 844-774-3529. And the company, the firm rather, PPID, is compartmentalized in different departments, and each attorney has their area. It's not like it's just one guy doing everything and touching this and touching that. No. They're very serious. They're very serious. So we want to say thanks to each of them for being here. But ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, okay, is a lovely lady who is here on the show with us. And I do not believe she has had the baby as yet. Shruti, welcome to the show. All right.
Thank you, David.
All right. We're still, talking about what the baby's name will be, but we are here.
Well, I thought that was decided already. I thought the baby's going to be called Squeeze.
Only if she goes into labor during the show will the baby be named Squeeze.
Which is
Well,
possible.
she's broadcasting from the maternity ward. You know that, right? We
Is
don't
she?
fool around. We
Are
don't
you
fool
really?
around at PPID.
No. Right now, my living room, but I could be soon.
Okay. Well, good
Tomorrow,
luck.
if you were
Good luck
speaking to me
you.
tomorrow, yes.
Good luck, my friend. That's amazing.
Well, let me say congrats in advance. All right. I want to be one of the first. So I will say congrats in advance. Shruti, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is also an attorney at PPID. I would love to welcome her to the show. Shruti, how are you doing today? And I'm going to let you jump it off because we never know. You may go in labor any second.
Yes, that is true.
Anything you want to touch on immigration, seeing that we've got hundreds of thousands of people that's tuning into 93.5 FM and Facebook. Many people are sharing the page that they're watching right now. So you are our guest. What would you like to say today?
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me on here again. So ever since the pandemic has begun, the administration has made about 46 immigration-related policy changes that has affected everyone from essential workers to immigrants to non-immigrants. And these changes are coming about every single day. Just yesterday or a couple of days before, it was decided that ICE can no longer arrest people, illegal immigrants who are here, who attend New York state courts. That was deemed illegal. Just a few weeks ago, the policy administration has made changes that's going to affect immigrants. It's going to affect non-immigrants. It's going to affect essential workers. When I was on here last time, I had very briefly touched upon the immigration, the healthcare Workforce Resilience Act, which was basically what happened was on May 4th, a bipartisan group of senators had introduced a bill to recapture almost 40,000 lost green cards and give them to much needed doctors and nurses. What this act would do would speed up the ability of foreign-born healthcare workers to become lawful permanent residents of the United States, and then allow them to assist in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. What everybody does know about is the immigration ban that was administered a couple of months ago. There is a very good possibility that a similar ban would be extended to certain non-immigrant visas, such as H1s, H2Bs, J1s, and even possibly L1s. It's been rumored that for a period as long as 180 days, these certain non-immigrants may not be able to enter the United States. More details could come out as early as this week. So stay tuned. We do have more, we are looking very closely at the news to find out what else is going on. If you do believe you qualify for a benefit, now would be a good time to start acting on it. If you are outside the United States and you are on one of these non-immigrant visas that I mentioned, now would be a good time to start making those travel plans to come back. The non-immigrant visa ban could also extend to certain STEM OPT students. It could extend to spouses on H4 visas, spouses of H1Bs who have a work authorization document. It could increase the filing fees for certain non-immigrant visas. Of course, nothing has been clearly declared by the government yet, but we are looking at it closely, and there are a lot of possibilities out there that are being discussed that could come out as early as this week. So stay tuned to this show because we will talk about that here first.
Shruti, have you heard anything about the filing fee increases? I mean, I haven't heard anything lately in terms of when they're going to implement. Have you heard anything?
In general, you mean, Conrad? I actually have. So so about a couple of weeks ago, what USCIS has done. Now, you know, USCIS is running out of money. They have requested a bailout. That coupled with the fact that a couple of weeks ago, they actually submitted their final proposal to the White House, means those fee increases are coming soon, likely by midsummer. Which would mean fee increases for citizenship cases, which would mean fee increases for non-immigrant visa cases, and most importantly, for the first time ever, it would mean a fee would be instituted, an application fee would be instituted for the most vulnerable of all, that is the asylum seekers. So it is coming as soon as midsummer because that final plan has been submitted. The proposal has been submitted to the White House. It was actually submitted on May 27th, actually.
Regarding that asylum fee, from what I understand, if it's implemented, which it looks like it's a pretty sure thing that it will be, the United States will be one of 3 or 4 countries in the entire world that charges for an asylum application.
Absolutely, it's actually going to be probably one of the developed countries.
What does that mean? What does that mean to have asylum, to apply for asylum?
It means if somebody here fears persecution in their country, and they fear for their lives going back, what they can do is they can come to the United States and apply for political asylum based on your political opinion, based on your race, based on your participation in a particular social group. There are about 4 or 5 criteria right there that you could meet to apply for asylum. And if an immigration judge or a USCIS officer decides that, yes, you do have a reasonable, credible fear about going back to your country, you are eligible to stay here as an asylee. And
okay, all right, let me squeeze in a number here, Shruti. And wow, I mean, so much information that you're delivering to us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining Cruising with the Case Handler. That's Adam Handler and myself, and of course our guest host, Conrad Pollack, Nelson Madrid, and Shruti Bali. And she's speaking on so many different areas, and I'm very happy that we have her on the show to give us this information. The number for the firm PPID is 844-774-3529. Before I have her continue, here's what I would like everyone to do. You're listening to a show on personal injury and immigration. I would like to extend to every single person that's watching the show a free phone immigration consultation. All right, 100% free. However, I need for you to call and make the appointment to get that free phone consultation, immigration phone consultation, before the top of the hour. So everyone out there, if you would like to ask one of the attorneys a question on immigration, absolutely free, off the air and privately, dial this number now, wherever you are. Yes, it's Tuesday, June 16th. Dial this number and get that free phone consultation. The number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. 844-774-3529. It's extremely important that you store that number. 844 PPID LAW. Dial it now, 844-774-3529. I want to squeeze in something here, Shruti. Someone asked, who are the affected of Trump's executive order? I heard that the executive order does not apply to non-U.S. citizens who already have lawful permanent residency status. The spouses or children aged under 21 of the U.S. citizens will not be affected by the suspension. What can you say about this? Can someone make this clearer to me?
So if you're talking about the immigrant ban that was instituted about a couple of months ago, yes, that is correct. It actually does not apply to spouses, immediate relatives of U.S. citizens that are currently outside of the U.S. They can come in here.
Okay, all right. We're switching to Adam Handler in a minute.
Well, actually, Squeeze, before you change subjects, just on that ban, which took effect, I believe, April 20th, which is a 60-day ban, by the way, and it has to be renewed or scrapped within 60 days, which is, I believe, a few days from now, which is why we're going to be hearing another presidential proclamation probably this week, which is going to be a lot more onerous. But anyway, in terms of that ban, who it does apply to are basically relatives of permanent residents. So if you have a green card and you're applying for your spouse or you're applying for your kids, and I believe even if you're a citizen applying for your parents,
Yeah.
and those beneficiaries are outside the United States, they are subject to the ban. So if you're trying to get your mom in and you're a U.S. citizen and you're applying for your mother's green card, she's subject to the ban if she's outside the United States. Of course, if she could somehow get into the U.S. on a visa, or she's already here, that she's not subject. But I've been saying quite a bit since this happened 2 months ago. The ban really hasn't had any effects, so to speak, because the U.S. consul posts have basically been closed. So all of these people that might have been coming otherwise, even without the ban, they haven't. The ban hasn't had its desired effect because the consul posts are closed. So these people haven't been able to come anyway. But now that things are reopening, we're going to start to see the effects of this ban. And as Shruti mentioned, the ban is likely to be extended to cover temporary workers as well, and perhaps even other relatives of permanent residents and U.S. citizens. So it's really unfortunate, but the administration is taking advantage of this pandemic, taking advantage of the COVID situation to put forth laws that they've tried to implement for the last 3.5 years, but have been unable to because they've been stopped by the courts. So they're basically using the pandemic to get what they want that they couldn't get otherwise, unfortunately.
And the reason behind this is what the administration is stating is that they're doing it because of this record high unemployment rate in the United States of U.S. citizens. So now they're saying that as long as the employment rate is high, we really do not want immigrants coming here taking these jobs, which is probably why the current immigration ban will most likely be renewed after the 60-day period, and it will most likely be administered to non-immigrant visa holders as well.
Absolutely. You want to bring your 80-year-old mother into the United States. I mean, that's true. I mean, she's probably taken a lot of jobs from people out there. All those 75, 80-year-olds looking for work. I mean, they must be real happy about this ban.
That's Conrad Pollack, ladies and gentlemen, being cynical in reference to what this administration is attempting to do. The number 844-774-3529. Wake up, Nelson. Because someone here says, I want to sponsor my father who was deported almost 10 years ago. His ban is almost up. Will his deportation make him ineligible? And after you answer that, we flip it over to personal injury to Adam Handler on this panel.
So it really depends on what exactly her father was deported for. Assuming he is eligible to return, he can return after 10 years, and the ban would not apply to him because it's obviously a parent. Which is an immediate relative, a parent of a United States citizen. But again, I would need to know exactly why the father was deported. I need more information.
Absolutely.
Right. And also, Nelson, there might be an issue there in terms of qualifying relative, if there are other issues there.
Right. Well, if a waiver is needed, he would need either a spouse. The father would need either a spouse or a parent
right.
if a waiver is needed. But again, we need more information.
Okay. All right. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, the number here happens to be 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Let's kick it over to the man that we call the $120 million man. And of course, that will change this year again. Okay. So let's just flip it to the case handler, AKA the Shark. Don't play with that man when it comes to him representing you. Adam Handler, what's up, man? Guess what? It's Tuesday.
Brother.
It's
Good
Tuesday.
morning.
That's all I got to say to you. It's Tuesday. All right? It's Tuesday. That's all I got to say to you.
Tuesday. So what? What's so special about Tuesday, Nelson?
Hey, something called
Testimonial Tuesday.
Right. Testimonial Tuesday. There you go. Last time I said, Shruti, I said, what's great about Tuesday? You're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you know, it comes after Monday, and you didn't get it. But yes, you got it. Good.
I was like, it's a day before Wednesday.
Here we go. Yes, Testimonial Tuesday. So everybody out there that's watching right now on Facebook, you know what Testimonial Tuesday is. It's when we post a true life success story about a real case, about a person that came to us for that one and only shot at financial justice. And today's Testimonial Tuesday is a great one. I love it. I love it. We posted it this morning. So thank you, Ruthie. Thank you, Ralston, for getting that out.
Thank you, Squeeze, for putting it on your story.
I was just going to say, Squeeze, thank you for pushing them to do it, because usually we're a day behind. We post it sometime during Tuesday and then talk about it Wednesday. But today is Testimonial Tuesday. So let's talk about Testimonial Tuesday today. Right now, we're looking at our website, thecasehandler.com. And of course, we have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of stories about people that have recovered millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for their injuries. And, you know, I'm looking at these Testimonial Tuesdays right now, and we're running out of good ones because, you know, the pandemic hit, and we haven't really done, you know, an exit interview with a client since our office closed. Right now, if we're settling a case for you, we're wiring the money directly to your bank account. Whereas when the office was open and things were doing, you know, being normal, you would come to the office, we would hand you the check, and then you would do us the kind favor of taking a photograph from us. But let's talk about this case. It's not a real name. We like to change the names to protect our identity, but those are real smiles. And this was an accident in Brooklyn involving a client named Michelle. And as you can see, this was late February, literally 2 weeks before everything shut down. And those were good times, man. Seriously, you know, that just seeing these photographs really bring me back to what seems like a lifetime ago. But this was Michelle, and Michelle recovered $100,000. Now, why $100,000? Because that was the maximum amount of insurance that she could get. And we certainly at Pollack, Isaac DeSico, whether it's immigration or personal injury, are going for the maximum best result possible. And that's exactly what we obtained for her. And if you wouldn't mind, Squeeze, reading that quote, I would be very appreciative. Or you're on mute, brother.
Adam made me feel confident and secure. I recommend Adam Handler and the Case Handler team. 1,000%, I think.
No.
10,000%. Yeah, whoa. 10,000%. Once you retain them, you will feel comfortable and at home, just like family. He will tell you what is in your best interest, no matter what the outcome is. Michelle from Brooklyn, $100,000 settlement. And there goes that beautiful smile on Michelle's face, like she just won the lottery. $100,000, you know. And Adam, you on your team, man. I mean, I love watching and hearing these true success stories right here on 93.5 FM. And no one listening to this station should go anywhere else to find themselves a personal injury attorney. They should call you at 844 PPID LAW.
Yeah, and you know, you used the word lottery, and I don't love that. I don't love that in describing personal injury cases, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, the lottery is, you know, to me, free money that, you know, you took a chance on and good fortune brought to you. when you're involved in a personal injury case, you're compensated for your injury. That's something that is intended to make you whole. I think it's the actual opposite of a lottery, because it's something that you suffered to get and is trying to right the wrong. So, lottery, you need luck. Personal injury, you need the right choice, right? You can any joker can scratch a ticket and win $1 million.
I stand
But when
corrected.
you're involved in an accident, you need to be very careful as to the attorney that you want representing you, because there are no redos. You can see the damage to Michelle's car here. This is pretty serious. Actually, this is the damage to the other vehicle that was involved. It was a cab. And, with only a few months of filing this lawsuit, we got the full $100,000. This is a case that maybe some lawyers would have settled for 60, 70,000 and could have taken them 5 years. But within a few months of filing the lawsuit, this woman is walking away for the $100,000. And that smile on her face is not the smile of somebody that won the lottery. That's the smile of somebody that knows that justice was served and they got what they were entitled to under the law. A big, big difference, a big distinction. Happy nonetheless. But you know what? She went through a lot and her life was turned upside down until we turned it right side up again with that $100,000 settlement. Full compensation, maximum compensation she could have received. Not a dollar was left on the table. A wonderful testimonial Tuesday for a time that seems, like I said, like a lifetime ago, but only a few months ago. And she's watching, listening. Michelle, we wish you the best. Thank you so much for your faith in our firm, for your faith in our process, and of course, taking advantage of that one chance you had and that one choice of lawyer, and you chose Adam Handler, the case handler.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I stand 100%, 10,000% corrected by the case handler. And that's the reason why he's the attorney and I'm the businessman / broadcaster. That's what I am, all right? He is the man. Okay, so listen up, ladies and gentlemen, it's no joke. He knows what he's doing. And we call him the shark internally here because of how aggressive he can be with insurance companies and others when he's fighting for his client. I say to you, just like Michelle, make that one choice, ladies and gentlemen, because you've got that one chance, and make it the case handler. The case handler, a personal injury attorney that has settled well over $120 million for his clients. Call him now, everyone. Dial the number 844-774-3529. Pass that number on now. Text it. Forward it to everyone that you know. 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. In my opinion, the top personal injury attorney in this area and the most celebrated one at that. 844-774-3529. The same number you call for your free phone immigration consultation, 844-774-3529. The case handler.
It's 9 o'clock.
There we go. All right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing. I want to say, Adam Handler, I can see that proud look on your face, man. How do you really seriously feel when you give it to the guys on the other side? I mean, just be honest, man. Really, how do you really feel? See, now we got a lot of people watching us on Facebook here. How do you really feel?
Like I said before, and you may find this shocking, but I was never the best athlete, right? I was never the guy that
you're not dancing in the end zone.
I dropped a ball in the end zone once. I just, I was never able to really just knock it out of the park. And as an attorney, I've been fortunate and blessed enough to be able to do that on nearly every single occasion that I'm presented with. It feels great because I know that I'm helping people. I know that I'm doing the right thing. I know that I'm assisting in the judicial process by administering, true justice. I'm a third generation attorney. This is all I know. Literally, it is in my blood. Conrad's a second generation attorney. This is what we do. This is what we've been taught since we were, small children, as far as respecting individuals, treating individuals fairly, and of course, advocating for people that are unable to advocate for themselves. So it's certainly in my blood. It feels great, but it just feels like I'm doing what I've always been meant to do. That's the best way I can describe it. And more so when I'm on trial in front of a jury. It's the same thing as kind of what we're dealing with right now. You know, you're in front of an audience and you feel passionate about your message and passionate about your objective, and hopefully that comes through and you convince people through evidence, right? It's not about sales during trial. I mean, it is selling your client's position, but you still have to have the goods. You still have to have the photographs, the medical records, the police reports, the witnesses, the videos, the documents. You still have to be able to prove your client's case, because if you can't do it effectively, you know, they're out, right? You have to, there's a burden of proof on a plaintiff in any case, right? If it's a criminal case, it has to be beyond the reasonable doubt. The state has, or the government has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant did something wrong. But in personal injury practice, it's preponderance of evidence, so the weight of the evidence. So as long as our evidence weighs more heavily on your mind than the other side, the plaintiff wins. But if the defense is able to create, you know, a preponderance in their favor, then the client gets nothing. And that means that either the defendant was not responsible for the accident, or the defendant wasn't responsible for the injuries. Again, we're here to help you. We're here to let, you know, our expertise and our years and decades of practice benefit you and your family. But we always say, we're not going to know about you unless you know about us. And the way you can know about us is by dialing our phone number, 844-774-3529 or 844-PPID-LAW.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Cruising with the Case Handler, a show on personal injury and immigration. He noted the number, 844-774-3529. Personal injury, ladies and gentlemen, when you get hurt in that accident, you need that number. Flipping it over from personal injury to immigration right now, we have our guest, Shruti Bali, that's on the show with us. And obviously, we've got the maestro, Conrad Pollack, and Nelson Madrid, the Maverick. And those are names that we have given to them because of their proficiency in certain areas. Okay, so want to say to everybody, note that number, 844-774-3529. Another question here, gentleman and lady. My wife is going to file for her N400 in November, 90 days before her fifth year anniversary. I came here on a visitor's visa almost 5 years ago. I am just wondering, could she file her N400 and file the petition for me simultaneously?
So unless and until her citizenship is approved, and Nelson and Conrad, correct me if I'm wrong, but unless and until her citizenship is approved, she can file for her husband as a spouse of a permanent resident. And once that citizenship application, the N400, gets approved, she can then bump up the petition and then bump it up as a spouse of an as an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. So it is possible to file it simultaneously, or even now.
Go ahead, Nelson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would necessarily recommend that. I would recommend the wife first becomes a citizen, and then once she becomes a citizen, she petitions for her husband. Reason being is you don't know how long that citizenship application can take. You also don't know if she's going to pass. And obviously, being the spouse of a permanent resident falls into a priority category, which means that a visa is not immediately available. And as a result, that the spouse may need a waiver. If they wait for their spouse to become a citizen, I think it's quicker. I think it's just better.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. And here's an example of what goes on in our firm, all right, because we're attorneys, and one thing that attorneys always have a plethora of is opinions. Okay, so this is a perfect example of what goes on behind the scenes at our office when there's an interesting case or we have differing viewpoints, and we go back and forth, kind of like if you watch Star Trek, you have Kirk, and Kirk is asking Spock what does he think, and he's asking Dr. McCoy what he thinks, and Sulu, well, Sulu and Uhura, what do you think? Anyway. I happen to think that this person should apply simultaneously. If that's, and Nelson, as you said, if the citizenship process gets bogged down, the file gets lost, the person doesn't become a citizen for 2-3 years, who knows what. In fact, we had a call yesterday from somebody who applied for citizenship on his own. The thing has been pending for 4 years, right? And who knows? So in this case, if they apply simultaneously, if something goes wrong with the citizenship application, at least that person, the beneficiary, has an I-130 that's pending. Yeah, it's going to take a couple of years to get it approved and to process it. And unless the spouse becomes a citizen, they're not going to be able to adjust status, but they'll have the option, at least. Let's say that person never becomes a citizen. At least they'll have the option of processing that visa application at the U.S. consulate. Yes, they'll need a waiver if they do that, but it's still a possibility. There's no downside as far as I'm concerned. I would file that simultaneously, but there are obviously opinions on either side.
Right. I mean, I don't obviously disagree. I prefer to err on the side of caution. I drive within the speed limit.
No, look, I'm not saying you're wrong either. I'm just saying there are different ways of approaching this, and it really depends on what the applicant wants to do. Yeah, there's a risk if they file that I-130. The I-130 gets denied. Who knows, for whatever reason, they forget the filing fee by accident. The person could end up in removal proceedings. I mean, yeah, far-fetched, but it's possible. So but personally, the way I would approach that situation, I'd file simultaneously, because you just don't know what's going to happen with the citizenship. And if everything goes well, as Shruti said, you could bump up the application once that person is a U.S. citizen and get an interview right away.
And from my side, I see that the person needs to give you guys a call, so this way you can get all the facts. So this way a proper decision could be made. And once again, folks, what it is that you're seeing here, watching here, listening here is not legal advice. You need to actually call the attorneys, go in there, sit down with them, talk with them, or do a phone consultation with them one-on-one. Hence the reason why a free phone consultation is extended to you by the law firm PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and Seco. It's very important that you understand that. So go in, let them do a complete analysis of your case based on what you've heard from the attorneys here. You can tell that they have so much experience on these cases, and cases can move and go in different directions. And that's the reason why I say get that free phone consultation, and then you hire them by calling 844-774-3529. 844-774-3529. Excellent conversation there, gentleman and lady. All right, I got another question here. Do I have to apply for Form I-751 30 days before my green card's expiration date? If I request 10 days before the expiration date, what would the process be for those who have a job? Because I would be without status. It wasn't possible to apply due to COVID-19. Everything was closed and my card expires next month.
You can apply. We're talking about an I-751 application for a conditional resident. Basically, the law is if you marry to get your green card, and you're married for less than 2 years at the time you get your green card, you only get a conditional card that's valid for 2 years. You have 90 days prior to the expiration of that 2-year period to submit that 751 application. 90 days. So you can file within 90 days prior to the expiration date. You can also file the day before your expiration date. You can even file after your card expires. I don't recommend it, but we've done it many times with an explanation, and it should go through. I would get that application in as soon as possible. Even if the card expired, file that application ASAP.
Okay, once again, ladies and gentlemen, cruising with the case handler, personal injury and immigration. Everyone, store this number, dial this number, get yourself that free phone consultation on immigration, or of course, store the number for personal injury. The number, once again, is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Before we jump to current events, I want to just go to our Facebook page and pages rather, and say thanks to each and everyone that's out there that is actually sharing the page. I want to say a special thanks to Linda Shaw. She's always on the page. She advocates for us, and advocates for you getting help from these great attorneys that's answering questions on immigration and also on personal injury. Once again, the number is 844-774-3529. If you're watching my page, David Squeezaniki, or PPID's page, or Adam Handler's page, just click on that share icon on the bottom, share it to a group that you're a part of, or shared on someone's timeline or a page that you manage. We do appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. Want to say a special good morning to Tracy Brook, also on the page here. She put up her question: is it true that USCIS is intentionally slowing down applications that have been recently submitted under marriage that are already inside the United States?
I wouldn't necessarily say that they are deliberately slowing it down. Just know that because of the pandemic, USCIS has been extremely short-staffed. They are working at 20% capacity at most places. So that has, of course, increased timelines throughout all USCIS cases. It has increased timelines in the time you get your interview. It has increased processing times, and it has increased times at the Department of Labor. So I'll be the last person to defend USCIS, but I don't think it's deliberate.
You know, again, here's a situation where, you know, you get a group of attorneys together, even on the same team, and people have different opinions. You know, one person might have heard something recently. Again, it's just like the Starship Enterprise. You know, Mr. Spock, what do you think? Seems logical, Captain. Dr. McCoy, what do you think? My God, man, we're talking about Universal Armageddon.
So who's Mr. Spock? Nelson?
Actually, that would be Yi. That would be Yi. My point is, I probably read the same article that this listener read, because I heard the same thing, that immigration is deliberately slowing things down, and that they've deliberately created this funding crisis to slow things down, to prevent people from getting their green cards. And they've actually created this fiscal crisis deliberately. All right. I heard the same thing. Now, whether it's a conspiracy theory, who knows? If it was a conspiracy theory, I guess our president will be tweeting it already, although it's in his own interest. But it would not surprise me that to know that the government was deliberately slowing these applications down. Is it a fact? Can we prove it? No, but wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Okay.
Plus, on top of that, the government is about to furlough up to 75% of its workforce, right? Because they can't afford to pay them, and because immigration is taking so long to process what applications that normally would take 2 weeks, and now they're taking months. So the money's not coming in as readily and as freely as it used to. So everything is slowing down. They don't have the money to pay their people. They're about to lay off 3/4 of their workforce. So yeah, I think there's probably a very good chance that these applications are being slowed down.
Okay.
I do believe that they're being slowed down. One thing I do believe is naturalization applications are probably being slowed down, because I did read that they're trying to reduce the number of people who are eligible to vote in November. So that's a possibility. But yeah, that
Well,
part
that's
I did
nothing new.
read.
That usually happens with Republican administrations. That's not a novel thought process on the part of the Trump administration. The Bush administration did the same thing.
Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's called Cruising with a Case Handler. Okay. Once again, we have all the attorneys here, and we're talking on immigration. We're speaking on personal injury, and this is phenomenal. Gentlemen and ladies, time to touch on current events as to what's going on out there. Adam Handler, you're always reserved in the capacity of politics. All right. So I'm going to let you start.
You know what? Like somebody once said to me, everybody's, you know, your opinions about politics are like your armpits. Everybody's got, you know, one, and they stink. Well, it's not really armpits. There's no right or wrong. You know, I've been, you know, watching the news very closely. After the pandemic hit, I tried to watch less. It was just so depressing with respect to, you know, what was happening with people getting sick and things closing down, and then the arguments about opening up. And now, you know, it looks like we have a whole new set of problems to be addressing, which I think is obviously about time. But it's so polarizing, you know, and you know, I have friends that are immigrants. I have friends that are police officers. I have friends that are white. I have friends that are black. And if you're a friend of mine, that means that I generally feel that you are a good person. And there's just so many good people, more good people than bad people out there. And I'm struggling with, you know, where to fall in all this. And I guess I'm just trying to still take it all in. But I know this, and I have hope that well, we are going to get through this, stronger than ever. And I think it's this pandemic and us being home and being tied to social media that has really brought a lot of these issues to light. And I think that's the blessing in disguise. So, I'm watching about, taking down memorials and kind of revamping the way we view our history, which in some ways is great. Some ways is, I think, dangerous because, those who erase the past, may forget about it, and it's bound to happen again. So I
Wait a
think.
minute. Whoa. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
There we go.
First off, I think Adam has a future in politics. Because here he basically.
I'm going to be mayor of this. I'm going to be
Yeah.
mayor. You would vote
Adam,
for
for the
me,
last
right?
5 minutes, he's been answering your question while not answering your question, expounding on his thought process, but not answering the question. But let's talk about that one particular issue with the monuments.
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the monuments. The monuments,
I am.
if they're offensive, should be coming down. I just don't want people to forget what mistakes we've made.
Okay.
I don't want people to forget, the evils of the past. That's my biggest concern.
Okay, well, in terms of the monuments themselves, when we're talking about these monuments to the Confederate past, the president of the Confederacy, Jackson Davis, or Robbie Lee. And Robbie Lee, I believe, was a good man. I mean, he was a slave owner, but yeah, and that's something that can't be erased from history. But besides that, in terms of these monuments, they were all erected subsequent to the war. These were all monuments that were erected in the early 1900s and later. All right, these monuments were erected as a reminder to the Black population in the South of Jim Crow South and what used to be, and the slave owners and all of that heritage. So these monuments were all erected, in fact, including this monument that was just torn down in Richmond, Virginia, by a mob or a group of people. These were erected to remind the local Black population of the past, of them being in bondage, and to make sure that they stayed in place. Because again, this was done during the Jim Crow era, right, when they had no rights. So these were erected specifically to keep the Black population in line and keep them in place. So they are reminders of a very brutal past, and they should be taken down.
100%, and almost in a way, taking those monuments down is freeing the people that have been oppressed.
Right. These are constant reminders to these people of what used to be, and they don't need to be reminded on a daily basis of their families and their.
I just want to make sure that everybody. I just want to make sure that reminders are in place of the ugly past we had. And I'm not saying it has to be by way of monuments, but we can never forget, the suffering that we've inflicted as a nation on people, either the indigenous people that we came to this country that were here before us, or the people that we brought over from foreign lands, to work for free and be, property.
Well, you want to know what, Adam? We won't forget. I mean, we can't forget. We'll never forget. I mean,
I won't let my family forget.
I mean, look, the Native Americans don't forget. The Blacks don't forget. Jews don't forget. We all can't forget. It's impossible for us to forget. It's a part of our heritage. It's a part of our culture. And truly, we genuinely do not need monuments to actually remind us of that. That should be eradicated. That should be taken out of it. I mean, we can name streets. We can do other things. We can create organizations, to actually represent, our past and our history, still reminding us of what happened, but at the same time being a positive tip. I mean, for example, the Confederate flag. I mean, every time I see that, and I've gone, when I was in corporate America, gone to work, when I was working for, I did some work in reference to Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, doing some research. And, I went into this place and the Confederate flag was there, and I walked in and everyone looked at me, and then they looked over at the flag, and I asked the guy for a drink, and he looked at the flag and looked back at me, and, I just walked out, saying, okay, I'm outnumbered. I see what can happen here. But what I'm saying is, as a Black man, I don't want anything that's going to make me feel like I'm in defense mode. You know, when I look at
or second rate.
Or second rated. You know, the first thing we as Black people think about is defense mode. That's the first thing that we think about. And we should not have to think about it. You know, it's like me, I have never, since I've been in this country since a kid, and I got my driver's license, I have never, ever been driving a car and the sirens go on, whether or not they're addressing me or someone else, and I don't feel scared. Never. I always feel scared, no matter what. I always feel scared. I always feel worried. I always feel like, you know, so, you know, it's what I'm trying to say is that we just truly don't need certain memories, and it's scarring us every day. It's making us feel different every day. So I concur with you all in tearing down and getting rid of certain things that's actually distorting a people. And this is truly the greatest country in the world. That's my belief. This is the reason why we do this program, to help people who are immigrants, help people who believe in equality. So I appreciate every single one of you here, and I appreciate what it is that you're standing for, and I appreciate other people watching this show. But I do believe now, with everything that's going on, it's an opportunity to push forward some change, although there's some drawbacks with idiots doing the wrong things and distorting us, making us look bad. But regardless of those idiots, we forge ahead as a people, as Black people, as white people, as Asians, as Latinos, whatever it is. I like the movement that I'm seeing, and I do support that movement with the majority. Actually, well, not necessarily the majority, but what it is that I see that's happening.
You know,
that's my
history,
take, my piece on the current.
History, historically, is written by the winners. Okay, and it's interesting if you look at it from this perspective. You know, you have all of these monuments in the South. You know, again, Jefferson Davis, excuse me. He was the president of the Confederacy, slave owner. The guy led half the country in rebellion against the United States. And here's a plaque, a statue to him in the capital of Virginia, in Richmond, that was torn down, and properly so. It should have happened a long time ago. You have these military bases also that are named after Confederate generals. And again, maybe some were good men, maybe some weren't. I mean, that's not the debate here. That's not the question. But these were traitors. These were people that were in open rebellion against the United States. And yet, again, history is written by the winners. The North won this war, but yet this was still permitted. They still allowed to erect these statues during the Jim Crow era, and they were naming these military bases after Confederate generals who were traitors to the U.S. back during the Civil War, and yet it was permitted. My point is, our country has, if not openly advocated segregation or just the whole prejudice thing, they certainly have tolerated. And that's not just in the South. It's been tolerated by the United States, throughout our history. And hopefully, it's certainly being reckoned with at the moment, but hopefully there will be a change overall in overall attitude, because this is a perfect example of how the U.S. has permitted this to go on to this day.
There you go.
If I could jump in right quick,
Absolutely.
I'm not sure that tearing down the statutes is going to change, the way some people are raised, the way some people think.
That takes time.
If everyone remembers when Obama won, right, there was talk that the minority was now the majority, right? And obviously, I think the last election proved otherwise. I've been mistaken personally for being Italian, for being Greek, and the things I've seen, because certain people don't experience racism because you're not supposed to experience racism. It's not targeted. It's not geared towards you, but I have seen a lot of things, growing up that I think were extremely hurtful, and the fact that we're still talking about this in 2020, is what strides have we really made? We're doing all of this, right? And in 10 years, we're going to be having the same conversation. You know, that's just how I
But
feel.
hopefully not at
It's
this
just
intense
really
level.
important that the talk about racism, it starts early. It starts now with your kids.
right.
There are
Right.
people out there who say, why talk with your 4-year-old, 5-year-old? And I'm saying, well, there is a 4-year-old, 5-year-old African-American child out there who just witnessed a parent being killed. So they witnessed it early. Why not talk to your children early too?
Right. But
Nothing wrong with that.
I think there's some people, and those people, you know, will continue to live on for many, many years to come, that don't think the way we think.
Because they're jackasses. That's
You know, that don't think, you know, I mean, I had said, you know, that one day if I made enough money, I actually wanted to go to the Midwest and start interviewing people and ask people, you know, can you tell me what the Republican Party stands for? You know, and I'm sure more than 50% couldn't give me an answer, you know, because they, you know, the Republican Party, and I don't want to get into politics, but, you know, some people just view it us against them, you know, and I'm not sure you can change those people's perception because, again, it's unfortunately, it's kind of like a vicious cycle. It's just the way you were raised.
All right, but getting back to the monuments and all, you're right. It's tearing down the monuments, renaming these military bases is not going to change anybody's mind. It's not going to do anything to change anyone's mind at this point. But it will have an impact on the next generation if it's done.
It's a start.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
it's
You have to start somewhere.
You want to know what, everyone? I see change happening, and the change that I see happening, I see so many young people out there protesting for the right thing. And the majority of the young people I see out there is what the nation's majority is: white people, Caucasians.
That's right.
So I'm saying that is change. You understand? That is change. Once upon a time, the majority would not be white people. So there is some change, and hopefully, I'm saying hopefully, we are moving in the right direction. But we can only make it better by acknowledging it, talking about it. Some people are afraid to talk about it. Some people are on the left, some people are on the right, but we're addressing it. All lives matter. We're now pontificating Black lives because we see what's happening with our race. But all lives matter, but we have to pontificate here to eliminate all the issues that's happening, or hopefully eradicate all those issues that's happening with a specific race more than others right now. Gentlemen and lady, this has been a phenomenal and great discussion. My favorite word here, phenomenal. Okay, I hope we can continue having conversations like these. We all have our own opinions, but what I see here is that we all have the same objective and the same goal. We need to coexist as a people. I want to say thanks to, of course, each of the attorneys on the panel this morning, the case handler who actually opened up this one. You open up that worm. I'm like, yeah.
Hey, you asked me what I thought.
I'm like, man.
And I took you guys for a ride.
I would expect that from Conrad, but Adam, oh man. But anyway, and then Nelson is like, okay, I'm going to be quiet for a while. You know what? That's it. I'm not even be quiet anymore. I'm jumping in. And Shruti made her point. Good discussion. And you know what? This is very healthy. Thank you all so much for choosing Cruising with the Case Handler. That's Adam Handler, myself. And of course, our co-hosts, Conrad Pollack, the maestro, Nelson Madrid, of course, the maverick, and Shruti Bali, who's about to have her baby. I want to say congrats once again in advance. With that said, I want to remind you all, whether it's criminal defense, real estate, and obviously personal injury or immigration, reach out to a firm that's right here in the New York tri-state area, and that's helping people from all over the world when it comes to immigration because it's federal. And obviously the man who is the top man, the most celebrated personal injury attorney within this community, Adam Handler, of course, $120 million can be wrong. So make sure you call them at 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Everyone out there, another current event I wanted to touch on was the coronavirus thing. Please wear masks. Please wash your hands. Have your sanitizers. Please be safe and practice social distancing. We're seeing spikes happening all over the country. And see, I didn't get one of those yet. Adam is showing his mask, the case handler. Still waiting for mine, but that's okay. I don't get invited to barbecues at home. I don't get face masks from PPID's team. I don't know.
None of us do.
Hopefully I'll get invited to that Brooklyn office down there in Brooklyn. You know, once we open up, hopefully I'll get invited to that. But that's okay. You know, I'm not saying anything. I still love you guys. You know.
All right, we love you too, man.
I'm just kidding. But you know, it's an attorney advertisement. Priors also not guarantee similar outcome. But once again, store the number, call them. What I love about them, you get to speak with them for free, ladies and gentlemen, initially. Then you hire them. Not many firms are like that, if any, out there right now. Thank you all so much. We're concluding here. It's been great.